Welcome to the White Sox Recap podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey. SoxFest is back for the first time in 5 years in a new format, in a new location, and we are there here at the Ramova Theatre. Plenty of guests featured here over the next couple of days this weekend, including 2005 World Series hero Mark Buehrle. But some of the big highlights will include some of the White Sox top prospects, many of which I caught up with here at the Ramova Theatre. Coulson Montgomery, Chase Meidroth, Brady Montgomery, and Hagen Smith, who was just ranked as one of the top 2 left-handed pitching prospects in baseball with teammate Noah Schultz. We'll hear what to expect in 2025, why they are motivated to be the group that changes the narrative in Chicago, and when will we see some of these guys? They're tabling personal goals and keeping their heads down and their eyes on the prize. Some in 2025, some maybe in 2026, 27. 4 of the White Sox top prospects on this edition of the White Sox Recap podcast, and it starts right now. All right, new White Sox prospect Brady Montgomery here on the White Sox Recap podcast. And Braden, a lot of excitement. Both sides, like Boston's excited about getting Garrett Crochet. Chicago's excited about getting the package that came with you at the top of that. So I've seen some of your interviews on MLB Network. You're embracing this opportunity with the White Sox. Talk about why getting traded from an organization like Boston to Chicago is something that you're all in for.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the outside, it's seen as something that's a great opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in the organization, and yeah, that's true. I love it. But I guess for me, I haven't played baseball in half a year. Whoever wants to let me put on a uniform and suit up, I'm ready to go. So I'm excited to. I've got some family out in Arizona, so it's nice to be in Arizona. But I'm excited to play some ball. Yeah,
and of course, everyone's going to ask, "How's the ankle? How are you feeling?" But you're ready to go full go once it comes time here in a few weeks.
Yeah, full go. I'm ready to go right now.
So people fall in love with prospect rankings. It's something just everyone does. Chris Getz has been able to turn the system around pretty quick. A big trade like that can happen. You have 6 of the top 59 prospects on MLB Pipeline, you being one of them. When you look around this room and seeing the talent that's here, is that a motivating factor for you guys as a group that, man, we can all do this together and really change the narrative of what the Chicago White Sox are?
Yeah, 100%, especially with how young the group is. Everyone's so relatable to one another. I think it's going to be awesome. I know the guys are real positive, and there's some good ball players too. So,
how do you? I mean, because you're a college player, you can get to the big leagues a little bit quicker because of the baseball you've played. How do you table the expectations and the excitement of trying to get to the big leagues, and also just going out and doing your job, putting your head down, and let the results tell the story?
Right. Yes. With it being my first year and having no pro ball under my belt, I try to eliminate any expectations just because it's hard to create that when I don't even know what pro ball is about. But there's unlimited excitement. I know that if I can stack good days on good days, then at the end of the year, it's going to be a great year. So that's what I'm excited about.
You're going to get to see some White Sox fans this weekend. This event used to be a staple for the White Sox. They did it every year, and COVID kind of changed that, and it's the first time in 5 years that this event's back. What about the city of Chicago are you hoping to learn? And what about the city of Chicago are you guys trying? Look, there's 2 teams in this town, and I think everyone that covers the White Sox understands which side gets talked about more. Maybe you guys can be the group that changes it.
Yeah, 100%. That's the plan. I'm excited just to learn about the passions of the White Sox fans. I've heard that the fan base is a passionate one, but obviously the past few years haven't been, I guess, what they would have wanted. And so I'm excited to bring a little bit of excitement back to the South Side.
What does a successful 2025 season for Brady Montgomery look like?
For Brady Montgomery to have a successful year, it includes a lot of wins. It includes great energy from the guys, because I think that great energy is one of the best things that feeds into those wins. And so, yeah, I think if I can help impact the guys by keeping the energy up, I think there'll be a lot of wins, and those two things, I think, will make sure that any numbers that I'm worried about will be good by the end of the year. So I think if I can focus on that, then everything else will take care of itself.
Everybody talks about tools and grades. Give us something that's not graded about Braden Montgomery, that's an intangible that you bring to a baseball field that isn't a 70 or an 80, tool.
Right. I'd say it's that energy, that vibe. I go to the field each day ready to give everything into becoming a better player, and the energy that I try to give off is an energy that I try to get my peers to do the same things, because if we're all in there each day putting all of our energy towards getting better, then I think that at the end of the year we're going to be really good. And so I think that's the biggest thing I bring to the table.
The White Sox haven't had a right fielder since Jermaine Dye won MVP of the World Series 20 years ago. That team's being celebrated here this weekend. Maybe Braden Montgomery. That's a lot to take on. But the White Sox have been looking for an everyday guy. Maybe Braden Montgomery's that guy. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to seeing you down the line. All right, here at SoxFest with White Sox top prospect Coulson Montgomery. Coulson, just talk. This hasn't happened in 5 years, this event, and I know you don't have. I mean, it might be news to you, but this used to be a big event in the off season for fans. So your experience of just being in Chicago, getting to meet some of these new guys that you've been around for the first time.
I mean, it's awesome. It's very exciting. So I was really excited to meet all the guys that we got in the crochet trade over in the Red Sox, because I played a couple of the guys, so it was really cool just to talk to them. And I mean, you kind of just talk about like what the experience is going through the trades and things like that. So safe to say, I'm happy these guys are on our side now. So that'll be really cool. But being out here in the SoxFest is going to be really fun.
You've been kind of part of two different phases of the White Sox. When you got drafted, there was a lot of hope, and the White Sox were supposed to be the next big thing. And then, obviously, we talked about it on the Zoom a couple months ago, just the way the season went here at the professional level. And then you struggled, too, admittedly, in Charlotte. How did you kind of table the idea of coming up to make your big league debut in a season that you could have easily been called up and just finish your stuff down there in Charlotte and then go to fall ball and kind of have a high note to go into the offseason?
Yeah, it's like I've been saying too, is I'm guilty. I was just looking a little too far into the future, and I really wasn't worrying about where I was at when I was in Charlotte. I was constantly, if I had a good game, I was kind of thinking, I'm going to get called up, other than just sticking to the process and just getting better, because I know I'm going to have a long career. So, I just kind of was looking too far into the future. But going to the end of the year into the fall league, I kind of just shifted my mindset of I'm just going to do whatever I can to help the team win.
And what changed in the fall league? Like, what were the results you were looking for, and what were the results that you got that you could take into the offseason?
Yeah, I kind of just changed my mindset. I was just going out there, and I'm not saying I was trying to have like a little emotion while I played, but sometimes that's what I need to do, is just get myself out, get myself to the next level of, I was just going out there, I was just going to try and beat everyone. I didn't care if it was the fall league, I wanted to win the game. So, and I feel like it kind of rubbed off on some of the guys on my team. So, and the biggest thing was I was just going there and I knew I needed to get better as a baseball player, get more at-bats, and just have more really good at-bats. I played third base, but that's fine. That's whatever.
You talked about meeting some of the guys in the crochet trade. Now that, the roster, or at least the prospects, like the system has changed.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of top 60 guys, you have 6 in the top 60. 41 and 121's out there for everyone else to talk about. But when you're in this room with those guys and thinking about what might be next for you guys, and not just 25, but 26, 27, and in the future, what does that do for your motivation?
Yeah, I think for all of us, it motivates us a lot, because we see the people in this room. We see what people say about us online, and the MLB and the prospect and the rankings, and we see all that stuff. But I think we all have the same mindset of all that stuff really doesn't mean anything. So I think we're all on the same page. We just want to get to the big leagues and kind of try and turn everything around. We're not really trying to put a whole bunch of pressure and expectations on ourselves. We're just going to go up there and we're just going to do what we do, So you don't make promises or anything like that, but you just know that we're going to give it everything we got, and we're just going to try and win every single day.
That's one for you. How do you table the emotion and expectation that you have for yourself of trying to break camp and make your major league debut, and just trying to go out there, put the work in, and let the results do themselves, and let that decision be made?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is I've been having a lot of expectations and pressure on myself since I was in high school, so I just kind of try and think of all this as the same thing. I dealt with it when I was a younger kid. I can deal with it now. It's a bigger stage and everything, but I'm not trying to make it seem like it's a bigger stage. Just going out and playing with my best friends.
Appreciate it. Coulson Montgomery joining us. With Hagen Smith here on the White Sox Recap podcast. And Hagen, a lot of talk, obviously, in the last couple of days about the White Sox having the top 2 left-handed prospects in all of baseball. A, what does that distinction mean to you? And B, how do you table maybe that noise and just kind of put your head down and prepare to do your job?
Yeah, it's really cool. Just a good mention for that, obviously, with Noah. He's a great pitcher, but, for me, like you said, like trying to cancel it, it doesn't really mean anything to me. I haven't even played a full season yet, so, I'm just ready to get out there and throw.
Yeah, what's the last 12 months been like for you? You're pitching for Arkansas, you get drafted, in the top 5, and, the White Sox at the major league level are kind of going through this dark cloud of the season where everyone's talking about them for the wrong reasons. And then here you are, the system's kind of completely flipped in a calendar year, and you're a big part of it.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year, honestly, but, I'm really happy where I am and what I've done the past 12 months, like you said.
So you look around this room and the talent that's coming, and nationally and locally, a lot of talk about 41 and 121. It had nothing to do with anything that you guys did. Can you take that dark cloud of what has happened in the past and collectively, like as a group, be motivated that you can change the narrative together as you come up together?
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't a part of the group that happened, but obviously no one wants that to happen in a season. I think definitely motivates everybody. I know probably for me, I don't want that to happen whenever, hopefully I get up there one day. I want to help the team win. So hopefully it motivates everybody to help us win.
What's a successful 2025 season for Hagen Smith?
I don't know. I don't want to put any expectations on myself in my head or anything, just because I'm just trying to pitch good wherever I'm at, and hopefully I don't want to play GM in my head.
When you look around, is there a guy that, let's maybe a position player that you're like, damn, either I've played against him or I've played with him, and I'm just glad I don't have to face him at some point in the big leagues?
Yeah, it's nice that Braden came back over here. Playing against him in college, I played against him for 2 years. One when he was at Stanford and one who was at A&M, and he's a great player. You can go watch him play. He's crazy good, and I'm glad he's on our team now.
You're talking to pitchers, regardless if they're a 10-year vet or have played for 10 days at the big league level, there's always talk about feeding off of the other guy's start. When you look at the arms in this room, both at the big league level and the guys that you're going to be coming up with, is that something that you can be picking from each other, even though you might have different skill sets?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely helpful. Everybody knows something can help out anything. So I'll try to pick people's brains whenever I can.
All right, Hagen Smith on the White Sox Recap podcast. All right, here with Chase Meidroth at SoxFest. And Chase, it's probably been a whirlwind of last 6 weeks or so for you. I heard you talk about your reactions just from the trade, but now that you're actually a member of the Chicago White Sox, you're getting to meet some of these guys for the first time. You knew some of them from the Red Sox system. What has been the last 6 or 8 weeks for you?
Honestly, not much has changed. The workouts stay the same, and what I'm doing in my offseason stays the same. The only thing different is I show up in a different jersey in spring.
So last year you had a great year at AAA. One thing that's lacked here in Chicago is guys getting on base. And one thing you'll learn about the South Side and the fans here is they like, the scrappiness. Maybe you don't even like to be called scrappy, but what is the key for you? What is your approach at the plate? Because it's different than the White Sox have had in the last 5-10 years.
I'm just trying to get on base for the next guy. It's always kind of been my thing. I think actually it started mostly in college, working with my coach for 3 years, and another one of my guys back home. But I'm trying to pass the torch to the next guy and see if I can get on first base.
A lot of guys, when they get traded, they all talk about the opportunity, like from one team to the next, and that's what the White Sox have here. What's attractive about the White Sox? I know a lot of people are going to talk about, oh yeah, they were 41 and 121 last year, but with the talent in this room, with Chris Getz has been able to do with the roster in the offseason, what type of opportunity do you see with these guys?
I see a lot of really good players and a really good staff, and so I like the direction this place is headed. And so I'm fired up to get going and get this thing started.
What about, whether it's Braden Montgomery or some of the other guys that you were with in Boston? Tell us something about one of those guys that you think like maybe Chicago doesn't know about. Like Braden's one of those guys no one really saw in the minors, so they plop him in the middle of rankings. Everyone falls in love with rankings. Like, give us something about Braden Montgomery that Chicago doesn't know.
So I never played with Braden in Boston, but I played with him in summer ball when we were in the Cape together. And that guy's probably the most athletic guy I've ever played with. I mean, there's not one thing he can't do on the baseball field, except for maybe catch, but he probably could figure that out too.
We talked with Chris Getz at length last week at our studio, and he talked about you at length as well and said, this guy has a chance to break camp with us as our starting second baseman. How do you table those words or maybe noise, even us from the team's GM, and just put your head down and try to win a job coming out of spring training?
I mean, yeah, that's everything you want to hear, but I got to show up and do my job and be a good teammate and take care of like work every day in spring training. So I'm excited to get out to Arizona with all these guys and get to work.
And lastly, just the motivation behind a group of guys kind of coming up at the same time. Do you guys, and you're just getting to meet some of these guys, but is that kind of a rallying cry you guys could do together? Like you are all starting your big league career together, and there's this stink or stench or black cloud on what this has been before you that you have nothing to do about. Is that a motivating factor for you guys?
100%. Well, I mean, everyone's counted us out, and so I think a lot of teams I've played on, it's been like that. So I love the spot we're in.
Chase Meidroth here on the White Sox Recap Podcast. All right, a lot of good stuff there. I really liked what Braden Montgomery had to say. The guy's bringing energy. He has a great smile. Not that a smile matters much when it comes to the baseball field. And I didn't want to put any pressure on him by saying, the White Sox have been searching for a right fielder for the last 20 years. Chase Meidroth seems like a no-nonsense guy that's going to put his head down and do the little things to get on base and record an out. And I think Sox fans are probably going to like that type of play. Hagen Smith just going to go out there and do his job, while Coulson Montgomery seems to be motivated by the pressure he's not putting on himself. And maybe that caught up to him in 2024. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast. Make sure you download and subscribe on anywhere you listen to podcasts online or on audio form. And for those of you watching on YouTube, we'll see you next time.